comes just right to the top, so we can just pass it right over the top. Just kisses the top there. So now you know that the height of the mortise will be exactly the same as it is on this distance here, wherever you want to put the mortise on your workpiece. So that's your first adjustment. Then with your 13mm wrench, you want to tighten these through bolts down so that your adjustment doesn't change. You know, you don't need to tighten them down a lot, but just get them somewhat tight. So get that tight there. Now we'll just we'll say that we're happy there, for example. We'll just bring this over just a little bit, give us a little bit of room. Now that we've got the height set and we're happy with the position of the head, now we have to figure out how to set the swing of the chisel so that it will engage the workpiece and put a mortise exactly between our two gauge lines that we've previously set. So the first thing, let's take off these pneumatic clamps. These pneumatic clamps have little hoses that engage into a manifold, an air manifold on the table. So you can put them wherever they happen to be on the machine. So we're just going to take this stuff off so it's out of the way. All of the hardware is slotted so it'll index exactly into the T-slot on the table, and then you have T-bolts that slide along and tighten it down. So first thing that you want to do is get your length stop. Roughly set, so we'll slide this T-bolt down. We'll put our length stop here. So, for example, imagine that imagine that if you're looking at it, our gauge lines are right here. So we'll just set the length stop here, tighten that down. We want that to stay stationary because we can always move the head a little bit to fine tune it. So we've got this. Now we want to take our cast backstop, slide one down here. Make sure that when you put stuff like the backstop or the fixtures for the air clamps that you put them out of the way of the heads so they don't collide. So we'll set one of those here. One of those here. So now we've got our back stops, our length stop. Now what we need to do is take these two L-shaped jigs right here. We want to back off our table. So we can set these. Now what you want to do is set these. Can you see that pretty well?
Yeah.
Set these so that they just touch your gauge lines. And your workpiece isn't going to move because you've got the length stop here to stop it. So get that right on the pencil line. Adjust this so it's, again, also just on the pencil line. I'm going to actually use the chisel that we had, since it's the same one. It'll be faster to demonstrate. Just take this off. Okay, put this back on. Swing counterweights out of the way. Swing this. Okay, always put the pressure bar back on. Tighten the nuts down. Okay, so you got that tightened down. Now you've got your length stop set, you got your back stops here. You have these jigs set right on the pencil lines of the finished width of your mortise, so that you can ultimately get an exact width. So you set this here, your workpieces, your jigs right on the pencil line. Now what you want to do is advance the table with your big wrench. So advance the table so that your chisel is now in between the two jigs. What you want to do now is you have to set the swing of the chisel. So you've got to insert an Allen wrench here. You've got to spin the head so that you'll see. Sometimes you got to adjust this back and forth to get it to spin free. So there are two lines, one on this and one here. This spins, this doesn't. This is stationary and this spins. swing this until your two marks line up. They have a 0 on either side of the mark. Line it up. Once those are lined up, then you can insert an Allen wrench through a hole here. Now you've got your Allen wrench engaged. You loosen this. You loosen that. And what that now allows you to do is to spin the eccentric so that you are setting the swing of the chisel. And you see a plus and a minus here. So when you swing the chisel, when you swing this to the left counterclockwise, the swing of the chisel decreases. When you swing it clockwise, the swing of the chisel increases. So we'll make a fine adjustment and we'll tighten this back down. And now we're just going to test. We can see we're not quite the exact swing that we want. So we're going to loosen it up and line the two marks up again. Get your Allen wrench in here. Loosen. Increase the swing by turning it to the right. So now you can see it's closer to this side, but now it's hitting here. So instead of adjusting it on the eccentric, we just ooch our head over. And now you can see that it's just about touching, but not quite. We still have to increase the swing, but it's pretty darn close. So we want to line our two marks up again. Insert the wrench. Loosen. And increase the swing just a little bit. It's trial and error, but you get a good sense of it. Now we're almost there. We just have to increase it a little bit again. Line up our two marks. And we'll increase it a little bit. Tighten. A little bit more. So go back here. Just a little bit off. But without going through the whole thing, that's the idea. And you just have to keep loosening this and adjusting this either more or less until it just kisses the inside of these pieces of wood. When you tighten, and then that's going to be the actual swing of the chisel. And once you've got it adjusted just so, you've got your length stop here, which you keep. You want to take these jigs off. And then the next thing you want to do is in one of your back stops, you need to have a chip breaker so that you don't get any tear out in the direction the chisel is swinging. If the chisel is swinging in the reverse direction, this way, it's cutting this way, You don't want that to be any more than just a little piece of fuzz. So what you need is a chip breaker. You need a sacrificial thing. This happens to be 1/2-inch melamine, just because it's soft and it won't dull the chisel. But you need to swing this in until you know that the chisel is going to bite into that about 1/4 inch or so. But at the same time, it's not going to drive this metal into the head. And then you have that so that it covers the bit of mortise on the very end that's being chipped out, and that'll give you a nice clean edge. So you always want to have a chip breaker there that the chisel cuts into. You can see that just on a previous run it's chipped. You just only need about that very much, but it provides some support so you don't chip out the face of your workpiece any more than just a little fuzzy